安定した地位を捨てて、なぜ日本へ移住者が語る驚きの理由に迫ります。オーストラリアでの地位を捨て、日本を選んだ理由とは。
Me, during that time, I ran and sold a couple small businesses, one of them being a Japanese street food stall, and that was the best time of my life. I was bringing people together with food and culture through my own Japanese street food and through Japanese culture, and I just knew that was going to be my next mission.
I'm moving to Japan tomorrow.
So I moved to Japan knowing that I was going to start a tour company, bringing people together with food and culture, and do what I do best: talk to people, lead people, and have fun.
仕事のあてもなく来日、機内での奇跡の出会い。
With zero job and no idea if it'll work out. I've actually been living in Japan for a few months already. I came back to Canada to sort out my visa. Now that it's done, I'm packing my bags and my family is dropping me off at the airport. And I'm sitting here thinking, it's happening. This is really happening. I'm officially starting my entire life over. On the flight, I meet this Japanese woman sitting next to me. Started talking, and then she tells me something I really needed to hear. She moved to Vancouver 20 years ago for the same reason I moved to Japan. She leaves me with this advice to just enjoy the process. Everything will work out. So I did. I spent the rest of the flight studying Japanese because I have an exam next month. Once we landed, I went straight through immigration and got my residence card. And it hits me. I live here now. This is real. I don't know what comes next, but one thing I know for certain is my partner is waiting for me on the other side. And for me, that's enough to take the leap. So follow along as I build a new life from zero in Japan, because this is just the start.
40歳を前に安定を手放し、東京へ移住した理由。
40. It's your city girl Royce saying, Konnichiwa, minasan. It wasn't an easy decision, but it's been long overdue. I've always dreamt of moving to Japan, but never acted on it, and I became very chill at my comfort zone. But now, I believe it was God who led me here because He closed doors there and opened ones here. So I trust that He wouldn't let me down. Was it hard? Oh yes, it took a lot of courage and faith. Was it too late? I don't think so. We all have our own timelines. We just have to stop comparing ourselves to others. Was it costly? Oh yes, indeed. Was it worth it? Well, that's for us to find out. Join me in this journey of moving to Japan as I start this series where I share the steps I have taken to get here and activities I've been doing to build my new life here. After several send-off parties by my family and friends in Manila, I arrived in Japan on March 8th and stayed with my family in Suwa, Nagano while preparing to settle in Tokyo to attend Japanese language school. It took me 2 months settling in, from getting my residence card to registering to the national insurance and pension, to opening a bank account and mobile subscription plan, to finding and finally moving into a Tokyo apartment that suits me. Things happened so fast during spring and summer is finally here. So if you're waiting for the sign to step out of your comfort zone and chase your dreams, this must be it. Mata ne!
フランス志望から一転、日本へ導かれた運命のご縁。
Not choose Japan. I'm choosing Japan now. I love Japan. I'm learning Japanese. I'm really getting into it. But initially, I had no plans to move to Japan. I wasn't even trying to move to Japan. I wanted to move to France with my whole heart, body, mind, soul, everything in me. I wanted to move to France. I started learning French when I was really young. That was my goal. I was not going to stop at anything. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to move to France. That was it. I made networking and applying for jobs my job. Like morning to night, I was applying for jobs. I was cold messaging people on LinkedIn. I was talking to every single person I knew in my life that might have any sort of professional connection, which I highly recommend you do. Even people you think don't have any connections to anything you want to do. If you're looking to move abroad, your network is going to be your greatest resource. You never know when somebody's at work and down the line they hear someone in some country needs a person for this job, whatever, and you can be like, that's me, I can do that. That's what happened. I met someone, I told them I'm relentlessly searching to move abroad. Relentlessly. I will stop at nothing. That is what I want. Call me break. I was brutally honest with this person. I just said, listen, here's the deal. Here's my credentials. And I had a few credentials, so like, let's not, I won't take that away from myself. It's not like I was working on nothing here, but I was like, here's my credentials. I've got that grit. I've got that passion. I've already moved abroad once before. My contract ended. I want to do it again. Like, this is what I want. This is what I'm going for, whatever. I didn't even know this person had the ability to give me a job, but a few months later, they remembered me. They called me and they were like, do you want to move to Japan? And I said, sure. And then 3 months later, I was living in Japan. And that's what happened. That's my story. Now I work in digital marketing here in Japan for a manufacturer. My employer definitely did not sign up to be on this TikTok account, and none of these opinions are connected to my employer. This is completely separate from my job, nothing to do with my job, so I'm not going to share anything about my job specifically. But I will say that my company is super fair for a Japanese company. I love where I work. I love my job. People I work with are great. Are there still Japanese work society values ingrained in a lot of people? 100%. But as far as my expectations go, and a lot of the people on my team, it's very fair. I love it. And that is how I moved to Japan as a foreigner who was not planning on moving to Japan, wasn't thinking about moving to Japan, but really wanted to live abroad and speaks no Japanese.
イギリスより日本の方が落ち着くある女性の本音が心に響きます。
I did in the UK. I feel like I've always been quite a sensitive person growing up, and the UK is very banter, loud, make fun of each other kind of humor. I honestly don't mind that, but I don't fully align with it. I do prefer the kind of Japanese silly, more light-hearted kind of humor. I prefer how polite Japan is and how I really don't have to bother with small talk when I'm buying a coffee or something. I just sit in your quiet corner and just relax with your coffee, and you don't have to worry about anyone talking to you. And lastly, the UK is getting more and more expensive by the day, I swear to God. So it's the quality of living is kind of declining a little bit as well. So there's not that many more advantages to the UK in my head now than there was maybe 10 or 20 years ago. And I'm sorry, but the weather, I cannot be dealing with 300 days of grey sky per year. No thanks.
東京ではなく田舎暮らし、彼を引きつけた日本の自然。
And the answer is really simple. It's just so much easier to be surrounded by nature here. Obviously you can find some nature in Tokyo, but it's just so much more accessible here, casually, it's just everywhere. Simply going up a mountain just to go to work. And while I do think there is beauty in the whole city views and stuff like that, I'm always gonna choose God-made over man-made, and that's just me. Even stuff like this, little walkways, I could go and check that out if I wanted to, easily. I'm not going to because I got work. But the fact that there's a bamboo forest right next to my walk up to my job also. There's also that. Pathways like this where it looks like you're in a tunnel full of trees. Look at it. And also the people are so much nicer out here, it's crazy. Whenever I go to a bigger city, everybody's kind of more blunt. But out here, everybody's nice and I love it. So hope this explains, yeah.
世界一住みやすい外国人が絶賛する日本の魅力とは。
Ever been to? Where else can you go thrifting and get quality shit from the 90s for less than $40? It's safe, it's clean. Look at this. I don't even know what this is. Look at that. That's nice though. It's just a great place to live for many reasons. Thrifting, that's a little side note, you know what I'm saying? That's not really why you should live in Japan, but come on. They just have everything. Those people were so nice. They were so nice. Yo, vintage clothing and vintage cars. This is sick. Beautifully restored from the 80s. Oh man. Oh my god, dude. Dude, the Japanese take care of their shit.
離れて暮らす姉妹の絆、日本で奮闘する彼女が抱く夢とは。
Sẽ giống nhau thôi, đi vì tiền, vì tương lai, vì muốn cuộc sống khá hơn. Nhưng lý do mình sang Nhật lại hơi khác một chút. Hồi trước, mình đang có công việc văn phòng ổn định ở Sài Gòn, lương hơn 20 triệu một tháng, làm máy lạnh, công cực tay chân. Chỉ có điều áp lực rất nhiều. Lúc đó, em gái mình đang học đại học, thì nghỉ giữa chừng, quyết tâm đi Nhật làm. Cả nhà ai cũng lo, không muốn cho đi, nhưng em mình quyết tâm quá, nên cuối cùng gia đình cũng đồng ý. Rồi mẹ mình nói với mình, hay con đi với em luôn đi, qua đó cho có chị có em, mẹ yên tâm hơn. Lúc đầu, mình cũng không có ý định đi, cũng đắn đo lắm, nhưng rồi mình quyết định đi. Nhưng mà đời đúng là không như mình tưởng tượng. Cứ nghĩ sang Nhật là hai chị em có nhau. Ai ngờ, qua tới nơi, lại cách nhau gần 900 km. Mình ở Fukuoka, còn em gái mình tận Yamaguchi. Và rồi, sống cùng một đất nước. Mà gần 3 năm rồi, hai chị em mình vẫn chưa được gặp nhau. Em mình là thực tập sinh, nên cũng khó đi chơi xa. Làm thực phẩm nữa, nên lễ Tết cũng không được nghỉ dài. Nhưng vẫn may là hai chị em mình vẫn ở cùng một đất nước. Không gặp được nhau, nhưng mình vẫn tranh thủ ngày nghỉ. Có thời gian sẽ nấu ăn, rồi gửi cho em gái mình. Em gái mình thì có gì tốt, vẫn sẽ gửi cho chị hai. Đó, dù không gần nhau, không gặp được nhau, nhưng vẫn quan tâm nhau được nè. Dù trước kia qua Nhật vì nguyên nhân gì, nhưng bây giờ mục tiêu chính vẫn là kiếm tiền thôi. Ai sang Nhật rồi cũng vì mục tiêu là kiếm tiền, kiếm chút vốn rồi về với gia đình, và mình cũng không ngoại lệ.
辛い過去を乗り越え、日本へ彼女が移住を決めた理由とは。
School English teacher and I live in the countryside. So basically I've wanted to move to Japan since I was 12 years old. My family forced me to move from Nebraska to Florida in the middle of my 7th grade year. I became extremely depressed and I found some kind of escapism in learning about Japanese culture. I stumbled upon a Japanese tea ceremony on YouTube, and that kind of sparked my love for Japanese culture. I started learning about how to put on traditional clothing such as kimono. I learned about traditional Japanese foods and their pickling processes for daikon and similar foods of that nature. And I just became very enmeshed and absorbed in Japanese culture as a whole, as a way to escape from the reality of my life in middle school when I was going through a lot of awkward transitions and I was in a new state. It was terrible, but I had an end goal and I did it. Not to mention, I do think that subconsciously my brain knew that there was literally no place further away from my parents than Japan on the globe. So with that being said, I think subconsciously I did romanticize wanting to move as far away as I possibly could because of the abuse that I was enduring at home. Japan is not a perfect country. I don't want to sit here and romanticize it because I do think that that is harmful. However, I am so incredibly honored to be here. I love Japan. I love living in this country. And of course, there have been ups and downs in terms of settling in. It's really hard to live here as a foreigner, but I feel very, very grateful to be here. I applied for my job in January of 2024 and I was accepted to the position in March of 2024. And that is when I started preparing for my departure, which would literally be in March of 2025, which was this year. So just a few months ago, I arrived. I knew that because I don't have a good relationship with my parents and I don't have strong ties to America and I am very critical of the political climate there right now, I would not be returning to America. So with that, I started preparing to have my kitty come over with me and preparing to move here permanently. My company helped me with my visa process, which I'm really grateful for. And then when it came to getting my cat over here, that is an incredibly difficult process. So if you are moving here and you want to bring your pet, you want to make sure that you start the process at least 9 months before you leave, because the rabies immigration laws here are incredibly strict, and the testing required to get your pet the necessary documents filled out by your government and then signed by the Japanese government, it takes at least 180 days. I know I speak about a lot of sad things on my account, and I have been through quite a bit, but I was able to push through, and I feel incredibly grateful for that, because I would not be able to be where I am today if I hadn't been able to push through. And I know some people can't, and it's not their fault. And I'm just honored that I was one of the people who could. If you have any questions about Japan, about my job, or my life, please let me know, and I would love to make more videos about Japan.
2026, I'll be 24, getting my early mid-20s, right? Now, when you're in your mid-20s or early mid-20s, there's only 2 things you do. You get married or you go to Japan. I'm going to Japan. Honestly, I'm not mad at that choice. 2026 will be Japan. Now, I need to figure out where I'm gonna sleep, where I'm gonna eat, and what to do. But I'm going to Japan.
一度訪れるとトリコに彼女が日本へ戻りたがる理由とは。
I started with Japan last year. I was like, oh, that's like my number one. I want to go visit Japan, and then I can venture out and go somewhere else next year. I want to go back to Japan. What is this phenomenon where you go to Japan and then you want to go back immediately, and every single next trip that you plan, you're like, should I just go back to Japan? I feel like that happens to a lot of people, and it's happening to me. I'm like, I just want to go back there. It was amazing.
東京の半分以下、移住先に福岡を選んだ理由とは。
Current job situation in Japan, and do you have any long-term plans relating to work? So Japan has always felt familiar to me, and I actually have a pretty long history with Japan, a bit over 15 years of coming back and forth to Japan. So I've always loved the safety, the structure, and the kind of pace of life here, I guess. And I just kind of love it. And then when I was looking for a place to actually live, I found this city, Fukuoka, and I absolutely love it here because it has this really nice balance of kind of beach, city, and nature, and you kind of don't get that in Tokyo. My original plan actually was for Tokyo, but the life at this point in my life, at least, is just a little bit more relaxed. You know, I have a family now, and I wanted to settle down. I couldn't see myself doing that in Tokyo. Plus, Fukuoka itself is incredibly cheap. You're looking at like half, almost to a quarter of the price of Tokyo. So if you are looking at migrating over to Japan somehow, Fukuoka is definitely a choice there. And the second part to your question there, Alex, was the part about work. So I work for myself. When I moved to Japan, I didn't just come here to move to Japan. I came here to create a life for myself. And part of that plan, and this was a long-term plan for me, was to create work for myself. And I really wanted to give a shot at what I'm doing right now, which is YouTube. And that has opened up a bunch of different doors for me, including not just this channel. And last year, me off my first year starting on YouTube, working with 3 major cities down here in Kyushu, and even my previous city I was living in Sydney, Australia, I was actually in the Japan Expo of 2024. 2024? I think that was last year, which was mind-blowing for my first year. So I feel like I'm making some right steps there. Though the other thing, it's opening up different doors. So I actually started a new channel about 6 months ago called Inside Japan Home, where I tour properties all across Fukuoka currently, but I want to expand that to Greater Japan eventually too. But that channel in itself is growing rapidly too. So the cool thing about what I'm doing, and I've enabled myself with that financial freedom to make this plan happen, is to be able to chase my dream and working for myself and just seeing what's possible. So I didn't just move here for a job.
日本での新たな挑戦はこれからも続きます。